So good morning and welcome dear students. I Dr. Shweta Bhatia welcome all of you to my class of methods of construction of index numbers. So what are the methods of construction of index numbers? There are two ways to generate an index numbers. It can be calculated using both the aggregative and relative averaging methods. In general, there are two types of index numbers construction: the simple index numbers and the weighted index numbers. The subtypes of each of simple index numbers and weighted index numbers are, so here you can see the unweighted index numbers, that is simple aggregative or simple average of relatives, and weighted index numbers are weighted aggregative and weighted average of relative methods. Weighted aggregative expenditure method can be further divided into 6 parts. The first one is Lespier, second is Paasche, third is Dorbish and Pauli, fourth is Fisher's ideal index number, fifth is Marshall, and sixth one is Keeley's. So what are the steps for construction of index numbers? The first step or problem in preparing index number is determining the base year. The second issue in index number construction is the selection of the commodity. The fourth problem is to select a suitable average because of the index numbers are a specialized average. In general, not all of the commodities included in the construction of index numbers are equally important. As a result, proper weights should be assigned to the commodities based on their relative importance if the index numbers are to be representative. The object of the index number is the most important consideration in their construction. All other problems or steps must be viewed in light of the purpose for which a particular problem or steps was created. Simple aggregative method. This is the most basic method where the index is calculated by summing up the current values of the items in the consideration and dividing by the sum of the corresponding values in the base period. The base period is represented by the value 0 and the current periods is represented by 1. So when we talk about the base prices, it will be P0. When we talk about the base quantities, it will be Q0. We will take base period as 0 and we will take current period as 1. So when we talk about the current prices, that will be P1, and when we will talk about the current quantities, it will be Q1. So indexes are sum of the current values divided by sum of the base values into 100. So P01 is equals to P1 divided by P0 into 100. This method is suitable when the items are of the similar importance. Weighted aggregative method. In this method, each item is assigned a weight according to its importance in the overall set of the data. The index is calculated by multiplying the current values with their respective weights, summing them up and then dividing by sum of the products of bases, period values and the weights. The formula is P01 is equals to sum of current value into the weights and sum of base period value into weights into 100. This method is appropriate when items have any varying degree of importance, like weights given for example, rent of the house is given, fuel consumption is given, consumption of oil, consumption of salt, consumption of wheat, consumption of rice, consumption of petrol. So these are the different variants and it is having varying the degree of importance. Then we will talk about the weighted average method. The most important method among them is the Lespier's index, Paasche's index, and Lespier and Paasche is the base for the Fisher's formula. The Lespier index uses fixed base period weights to calculate the index. It compares the current period quantities with the quantities of the base period. Here, Lespier believes that we should work on base year's quantity. So you can see in Lespier's formula that Lespier's index is equals to summation current year's quantity is Q1 into base year prices, that is P0, Q1 P0 divided by Q0 P1 into 100. Then in Paasche index, the Paasche index is also varying period weights. It compares the current period quantity. Paasche has taken the current period's quantity. So we deal with the Q0 in Lespier's index and with P1 with Q1 in Paasche index. The formula is similar to the weighted aggregative method, but the current period weights. Paasche index is equals to sum of the current quantity into current period price divided by sum of base period quantity into current period prices into 100. Now the Fisher's ideal index. The Fisher's ideal index is geometric mean of the Lespier's and Paasche indices. It reduces the bias inherent in both methods and provides a more accurate measures of price change. Fisher's index is equals to under root of Lespier's index into Paasche index. You can also say under root L into P. When you will multiply Lespier and Paasche's value and you will take under root of that, you will generate Fisher's index value. Each of these methods has its own advantage and limitations. The choice of method depends on the nature of data, the purpose of analysis, and the information given to analysis. So we can say that index numbers are powerful tools that facilitate the analysis of changes in various economic and non-economic variables. By understanding the method of constructing index numbers and their application, you can develop a solid foundation for data analysis and decision making in business world. Thank you.